While Chinese banks are preparing for listings, foreign financial institutions are teaming up with local counterparts to compete for a piece of the Chinese market. This week I interviewed Dr. Yuhua Hedrick Wang, economic advisor of MasterCard International. He looked at the expansion strategies of foreign players in China. Well, we know by the end of 2006, China will have to fully open up its financial services market to foreign competition. So, judging from this past year's activities, some analysts predict that foreign financial services provider will be focusing on buying stakes in local existing banks or institutions instead of investing in new branches in China. What do you think? Do you agree?
Well, I think the market clearly believes that's the way to go. To enter the China market. That's why all the foreign players today have bought into existing Chinese financial institutions. I think there's a number of reasons, and fair reasons for them to adopt such an approach. China is a big market, right? For a foreign player to come in, one branch at a time,
it'll take years.
It'll take years, and then before you scratch the surface. Two is that also, the market has local cultural issues, and again for foreign players, to understand all the nuances of the local market, consumer attitudes and preferences and so on, it will take time as well. And if you can find a good local partner who has the on-the-ground knowledge and experiences and so on.
How significant is this factor in financial services? We know when we talk about global expansion or global merging, we talk about this regional difference or cultural differences in every industry. But specific to the financial services industry, what is this difference?
Yeah. Well, I can think of two in the case of China.
Right.
First, I think the risk profile could be different. I think different segments in China within the consumer market may have very different risk profiles that may be a bit counterintuitive to foreign players.
Do you have an example?
For example, you look at younger Chinese, right? If you look at in the biggest sort of Chinese cultural context,
right.
One would believe, superficially anyway, right? This is a very conservative culture. Our research has demonstrated that the young singles are well educated, in professions, in a very upwardly mobile, career path, and these people are marrying late if they marry at all, and when they marry, they're going to postpone times of having children.
Right.
So what it means is they have a lifestyle that's really oriented toward themselves.
Yes.
So the expenditure pattern is completely different. Okay, what they would want from a financial institution, will be very different from the parents.
Yes. Now, I understand it's probably one of the most efficient ways to expand their business into the China market for the time being. But one of the weaknesses of such approach is branding.
Well, branding and also working through very different corporate cultures. You can imagine a foreign bank, sending a team to China. They probably pick their brightest, youngest, most, successful bankers.
Right.
New MBAs and the head full of all the, best and the most aggressive competitive strategies to be applied to China. And then over here you have a local team, to probably people cut the teeth, working with stable enterprises. Right, so a completely different kind of commercial orientation, and the reward system is very different. Whereas for foreign banks, a lot of times engagement with professionals very short term, very short term results oriented.
Yes.
That the Chinese corporate culture tends to be a lot more long term, slower moving. I think one of the biggest challenges really is to overcome the differences in corporate culture to create a single integrated team to operate effectively. That is, I think, the biggest potential pitfall.
For anyone who wants to take this approach to enter the China market, that's definitely a challenge or a risk they're going to face, right?
Yes.
And they have to prepare for it. But from a strategic point of view. What about this issue of branding? Do you think that's an issue at all?
In this kind of joint venture, actually, there's a degree of flexibility that you can use to your advantage.
Okay.
Again, that depends on which market segment you're focusing on.
Right.
And the chances are most of them would like to focus on multiple market segments.
Right.
So therefore, the issue is which aspect of this now combined brand I want to highlight. Now, if I'm going to highlight, really high income, well-educated, urban-based, professional market segments, I would highlight the international brand.
Right.
On the other hand, if I go to Sichuan province, I want to really, capture a lot of the middle class, solid middle class, but very conservative, Chinese customers. Maybe the local brand is the way to go to allow them to see us the familiarity. Then they probably been banking with the local partner for as long as they can remember. So there's a sense of continuity. And you build on top and say, well, here's a foreign partner to provide new services too. But the primary brand, it really is our traditional Chinese brand.
Right.
So I think it's that flexibility that would allow this kind of joint venture really to take advantage of the different, context in which a brand is important in China. And clearly, the context is multiple in China, depending on which segment you're focusing on.
Right.
So you can use it to your advantage.
Dr. Yu added that foreign banks should offer products specifically designed for Chinese consumers. For example, some sort of education loans for Chinese students studying overseas that will enable them to create a competitive advantage.